Boy, did this comic suck. Let's talk about Alan Scott, Green Lantern #2. I thought the first issue was bad. Apparently, I knew nothing of how bad it could actually get. This is one of the worst comic books that I've ever read. All right, let's talk about the Golden Age really quickly. Alan Scott is one of my favorite characters from the Golden Age. Definitely top 5, and that's if you're counting the Trinity. If you're not counting the Trinity, then he's number 1. Jay Garrick Flash is there. Wesley Dodds is great too. I love Starman, Ted Knight. So I've been collecting these new DC titles with all the Golden Age characters. I really like the Flash. I think that's kind of a standout for me. I also have to say Wesley Dodds' Sandman's pretty good too. And I feel that those two are good because they're leaning into the characters a little bit more. Alan Scott, not so much. I've decided to go back, and through digital, I've been reading All American Comics number 16, the first appearance of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and I've been reading it. I've read like, I don't know what number I'm on now, 28 or 29 or something like that. And then I read the first 2 issues of Green Lantern solo series. So I'm actually going to finish All American Comics, and I'm going to finish the Green Lantern solo series. By the time I'm done, I'll be a pretty good, knowledgeable, let's say not expert, but I'd be a pretty knowledgeable about Alan Scott, Green Lantern. So that said, let's talk about this using my space system. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2 is the best you can get. I'm gonna address the elephant in the room at the end. The elephant in the room is they made Alan Scott gay. We're going to talk about it at the end of this thing. Storyline, I'm going to give the storyline for this particular comic. Remember, I'm reviewing this comic and comparing it to issue 1 plus other Green Lantern Alan Scott comic books and characterizations. Based on that, I'm giving this a 0 for story. There is no story here. Well, there is a story, but it's not very good and it's hyper uninteresting. First of all, they rewrite the origin of Green Lantern and the lamp. Why? I don't know. Who cares? Just use the same origin that he had. It was fine. They didn't even really update. They updated it in such a stupid way. He's in Arkham Asylum. I want to take a look at this cover. Does this look like very action-packed to you? This entire comic is Alan Scott talking about his feelings. It's awful. Right away, if someone in the comments puts, oh, it's because they turned the character gay, I'm going to stop you right there. Because if it was a straight white man whose girlfriend died, it would still be 0. I don't want to see Alan Scott crying and whining and, oh, I'm in an asylum, because his wife died. Literally, that doesn't matter to me at all. 0. It matters to me at nothing. It's absolutely outrageous. This is a boring piece of crap comic. The pacing, 0. You can eliminate this comic, and I bet you the next one will just continue on like nothing happened. This is literally nothing happens. He's just sitting here. He meets this other crazy guy who wears women's wigs. And it's like, oh, look, it's progressive. What, that a guy in an insane asylum is wearing a wig? I don't understand. But anyways, whatever. It's boring. Every time they cut away, and I had hope for this issue, actually, because it started with this page. Now, if you look at the Flash series, Jay Garrick, the Flash, it's leading into the character. He's a fun character. They're talking about his daughter. There's a lot of action. It is fast-paced. It's the Flash, right? So it's fast-paced. I love the interactions with the family. I loved her going with her and Stargirl going to the mall. That was kind of fun. Wesley Dodds Sandman, they're building up a little bit of a story, a little bit of a mystery. Who's the person that stole his gear? What's going on? This is really not building up to anything that we don't already know. It's the Red Lantern. Okay. Like, what are you building here? It's like, this doesn't progress anything. So story 0, pacing 0. The art, I'm going to give the art a 1, which is a pass. I like it. It is what it is. I mean, it's fine. It's a bit of a DC kind of house art, but that's okay. There's some like okay stuff. The problem is the art doesn't get a chance to shine because there's nothing exciting going on. There's just a lot of people standing around or sitting in hospitals. This is about as action-packed as it gets right here. So Alan Scott's in Arkham Asylum. Why he's there is his lover died, and he feels bad, and there's the Crimson Flame and all this other stuff. And it's just like, who gives a crap? Like, really, who cares? I think the writer thinks I think they think that they're creating this depth to this character. No. The Alan Scott that I've been reading in All American Comics is a very stand-up guy, straightforward and strong. If his male lover had died, I think this Alan Scott would internalize that, come out stronger, and not be weak. Why don't they make him tough? The Alan Scott that I've been reading, if we retroactively go back and say he was gay this entire time, well, he was a very strong-willed person. He would sock guys out in the face. If they said something bad, he'd sock them right in the face. He was a man of action. He would not be being blackmailed. You think J. Edgar Hoover could blackmail the Golden Age Alan Scott? The second that let's say he had that tape or that photograph of him with the guy in bed, Alan Scott would have punched the crap out of J. Edgar Hoover and used his ring and hypnotized him. Boom, right there. This has nothing to do with his sexual orientation. 100%. This has to do with awful writing. Okay, it's terrible. The characters, I want to say 0. I really like Alan Scott, and I want to like this more. I'm not going to give up on it. I'm going to continue reading it. It's only 6 issues. I'll finish it. Yeah, I'm giving it 0. This is not the Alan Scott I know. You know, Derby's okay. Doiby is how they kind of show it in the Golden Age comics. I just read his first appearance a few days ago. It's pretty cool. This other character here, this Billy character, so she is not very interesting at all. She gives him the lamp instead of him coming across it on the train. They do have the train thing. They do have the Decker storyline where Decker caused the explosion. You get a glimpse of Red Lantern at the very, very end here, which, I mean, doesn't even matter. I don't like the way they rewrote this origin. I think it's awful. I think enjoyment factor is 0. I'm giving this a 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. As promised, I will address this, the turning him into gay, making him gay. First of all, I 100% firm stance, you never change the original character. Period. Not gender swap, not race swap, not orientation swap, none of it. You never do it. You make a new character, too bad. And then you're going to say, well, it's really tough to make a new character and it won't take off. Right, because it's very difficult to make new characters. So it's very easy to take old characters and change them. That is my 100% official stance. That goes for friggin' Nick Fury as well, all of it. If you feel that Alan Scott as a character is dated and doesn't work for our modern times, perhaps he wasn't progressive enough in that time when he was out. That's a fair statement, and you can argue against that. However, don't use the character. The conclusion to that is you do not use the character. If you look at other characters, let's say if you wanted to do Lone Ranger and you thought, well, you know, I don't want to have Tonto and, you know, maybe that's insensitive now and I don't want that, then do not make any more Lone Ranger stuff. Because there's no point. You're not going to get the old fan base along. They're just going to not accept it, okay? And you people don't care anyways, right? So that's just an example. Having said that, is that really a deal breaker when it comes to the movies? As I mentioned, Sam Jackson. I actually really like Sam Jackson in the Avengers movies. So it's not a deal breaker. Alan Scott being gay is actually not a deal breaker. The deal breaker is that this is boring. What they need to do is, if they had asked me to write this, again, I would do Vandal Savage immediately to start with. I know Vandal's being used in Batman right now, but he just came off that storyline, so I would use Vandal Savage as the villain. But in any case, I would definitely not have this weak-willed loser. The entire point of the Lantern is that it's powered by will. Why is he so trash in this? He's supposed to be strong-willed. Again, and you can turn this around to me and say, oh, I'm some sort of ist or whatever, which is not true. And I'm not going to go through the checklist of the types of friends that I have, okay? But there you go. You can infer from that what you will. And even those friends of mine don't like this either because they want action. If I was going to take Alan Scott and make him gay, I would make him bloody kick ass. Like, comes in, J. Edgar Hoover's like, hey, we're going to blackmail you or whatever. He's like, you're not doing a damn thing, buddy. Friggin' punch the table through, take the ring out, hypnotize, because he could do that. He could hypnotize them. It's like, forget everything you know. Boom, done. When he's on that ship and that crimson flame comes up, and he takes his male lover. So they love each other. Those two guys love each other. Johnny, he loves Johnny. They wanted to get married, okay, but they couldn't. They couldn't show their feelings. It was in the 40s, right? When that Crimson Flame takes him away, he should be like, I'm going to be friggin' determined to destroy that Crimson Flame. You took something from me, I'm going to take you out. That's the Alan Scott that I know. The attitude, he may have been hiding his sexuality. If you retroactively say this, he may have been hiding it, but that doesn't change his personality. So making him a weak-willed loser is not my idea of great representation. That is my review, 1 out of 10 for this trash comic. My stance is that Alan Scott was strong-willed, which is why he uses his willpower, stand-up guy, fights for the little guy, does get pushed around. None of those points have anything to do with his orientation. If this comic was literally rewritten with a woman as his lover, it would still be a 1 out of 10, 100%. I can guarantee you of this. Watch my other reviews. Anytime there's boring-ass comics, I tell you. This talking about your feelings for the entire damn issue? Why didn't he fight Red Lantern? Put half of it of him talking. And why is he in Arkham? Ugh, it's so barf. So do you want a weak-willed loser Green Lantern who's gay, or do you want a strong-willed, powerful man who stands up for the guy that he lost and stands up for the little guy? Do you want that version? Do you want the gay Green Lantern of that version, or do you want the gay Green Lantern of this version? Think about that before you comment. This comic sucks. Adios.